You are now listening to Oversaturated, the podcast, hosted by Johnnie and Ralph. Now let's get it.
Welcome to another episode of Oversaturated, the podcast, where we discuss music, movies, pop culture, and everything in between. I'm Johnnie.
And I'm Ralph.
Welcome to episode number 126.
126. Man, I'm still salting the segue this week.
Let's go. New listeners, please follow us on all social media. Facebook, just search Oversaturated the podcast. Twitter is Oversat Podcast. Instagram is Oversat the Podcast. And our email is oversatpodcast@gmail.com. And please check out our website, oversatthepod.com. Everything you need to know about OS is there. Check out the website and make sure you get your OS merch.
Yes, sir. And if you want to follow us individually, I'm the Mind of Ralph on Instagram and Twitter.
On Twitter, I'm JON, 2 underscores, the letter B. On Instagram, I'm JBS_ESL_AAMU. Ralph, my guy.
Yeah, man.
We back. We kind of out of sequence here, but
I know, right?
Listen, man.
Content is content.
Yeah, big facts. It's the end of an era, man. The end of a moment in time for older millennials. Well, before we even get to that, we have a special guest with us on this episode. She is the host of Mali with the Most podcast. She is also a fellow alumni of Alabama A&M University. Everybody, please welcome Ty Mali to Oversaturated.
Come on for the horn. Welcome in. Hi, everybody. How are you all?
Thank you so much for joining us, Ty, for this Insecure season 5 review and recap. We every season we try to have ladies on with us to recap this with us so we could get the woman perspective on things. So Thank you for joining us. So it's lit.
Yes. I'm happy y'all have me. I'm excited. So thank you all.
No problem.
So before we even get started, tell the listeners like where they can follow you, your podcast, all that good stuff.
Okay, so my podcast is Mali with the Most. I'm on all streaming platforms. You can follow me on Instagram is @Mali with the Most, and on Twitter it's Mali W_the most. So you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram. I love interacting and feedback. So yeah, follow and talk to your girl.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. And for anybody that has ever questioned me, DMing me about the voice that intros Oversaturated, you are listening to said voice right now.
It's me. You know, I be feeling like I'm the girl on like the Twister who gets it wet, and so they're like, "Yeah, that's me. That's me on the podcast. That's me." But yeah, all my personalities.
Fun fact: I tried to get in Nashville. They had trap karaoke. This was 2019, I think. I tried to get Ty to do "Get It Wet" on stage with me.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm a little nervous, but that was the day I actually tore my Achilles heel, so it just was not gonna work.
I remember. Yeah. So anyway, I just had to throw that out there. Little fun fact. But season 5, Insecure, the final season of Insecure, just wrapped this week. A moment, man. This is one of the best Black shows of like our generation. For us to be able to catch it from season 1 to season 5 has been amazing. We're gonna talk about season 5. So I guess which character should we start with first? Which character you want to start with first?
Well, obviously out of the big 3, I would say we should probably start with Lawrence. I think that his art this season, obviously before we get to the creme de la creme of it all, spoiler warning to anybody that hasn't watched it. I think it was tremendous. I think it showed the peaks and valleys of what he's been going through, kind of like a culmination of everything. So I enjoyed what Lawrence's character went through this season in particular.
Ty, what you think about Lawrence's arc this season?
So I first have to say I'm a Lawrence Hive person. I know not too many women are with the Lawrence Hive, but I've been a fan of Lawrence since day one, honestly. But this season, I can definitely say that I see his growth, especially like even from episode 1 to episode 10. I see his growth as learning who he is as a person, as a father, and like getting all those kinks and working all those kinks out with the fatherhood, the co-parenting, with him traveling back and forth, and with his job. So I think his growth was portrayed very well throughout each episode this season.
Right. And I think growth is the theme, like for the entire 5th season. But honestly, the same thing y'all said, like hit the growth, like from seeing him and Condola like having their issues when they whatever party they went to the first time and arguing with, no, let me have them, that type of stuff. And then basically, I guess, being in a position where they have a co-parenting plan in place where everything is good, with Issa, coming to the house on her birthday in the last episode. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. But let's try to deep dive into some of these situations. So like when I guess the episode, I think it was episode 3 of the season, where it kind of focused on Lawrence and Condola's relationship and raising their son, right? So as far as like him living in San Francisco and then commuting back and forth, well, first he got the text that his son was born, and the first thing smoking, he was out. Like what was the feeling when y'all saw that? I thought that was wild.
So let me say, from the woman's perspective, he was out on a date with someone, and you get a text that says like, hey, your son is being born. And I just couldn't imagine me being the woman on the other side of that table, and he like, oh shit, my baby being born. And I'm like, your baby? And just like the girl, she thought it was a joke. She kind of laughed, and he was like, no, like got up and left. That's awkward. That's really awkward. But he still has the date. He still has to have a life, even though he's not with the mother of his child. So that was just kind of like an awkward moment, just even watching it. I just tried to put myself in that situation. If I was the date, like, how would I feel? And I would have thought it was a joke for real.
Yeah, I was pocket watching the whole time though. I was like, oh man, he flying from San Francisco to LA on red eyes and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. Like, hey, everybody ain't got it.
Every week too, it seemed like every week.
Yeah, like anytime she said something was up with the baby, I was like, first of all, I hate that he called him Jai. His name was Elijah, my boy. Like, I know that was trying to be a cute nickname. I ain't really care for that. But yeah, like just seeing like that whole co-parenting situation play out as volatile as it could have been. I'm glad that they found a way to check emotions at the door, realize that, maybe, this wasn't, our plan, but let's make the best of it. So I think that, Lawrence always showing growth because he's a king. That's what kings do.
Big facts.
Come on, King. I do like also the aspect of what Ralph just said, as far as him flying back and forth and like him pocket watching Lawrence. That like even goes back to season 1 when he didn't have it and he was struggling, like he wasn't working. So now to see season 5, that he has the job now, he has the career, he's financially stable, which he wasn't. So that shows the growth as well.
I was trying to figure out. So I saw a lot of people like upset at the fact that he was like going back and forth. Like and at that moment I still don't understand it. Like I think at the end of season 4, he got the job in San Francisco. So obviously he took it. He's living there. And for whatever reason, during Condola's pregnancy, they didn't have communication, I guess. I assume for her to just send him a text when the baby was born. So I didn't, and I see Lawrence as soon as he got the text, oh snap, my baby's here, I gotta go. Like you said, he left the date that he was on. And I'm just like, I understand he's living in San Francisco. To me, that's like admirable. It's like, I bet my son is here. I need to go like right now. So even with that, and then just him going back and forth all the time, people were upset with that. And I guess I didn't understand why. Maybe the fact that he didn't move back immediately. I don't know. That was weird to me.
I don't know. They were painting Lawrence. They were trying to maybe between viewer reaction and maybe the way that it was written, it kind of seemed like Lawrence was going to be the bad guy. regardless, no matter what he did.
Mhm.
And then somewhere in the middle, it just kind of changed around for him, I guess, because Condola's view of him changed. So therefore, everybody else just kind of backed off of him. So that's how I looked at that.
Do y'all think Condola, like, so I understand, well, I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it's like to give birth and things like that, but I do understand like postpartum and things like that. Do you think in her having like postpartum in those types of situations that she was acting, I guess, weird towards Lawrence? Like she wasn't allowing him to be the father that he was trying to be?
I do. And I don't have kids for the listeners, so I'm not a mom, but just me being a woman and kind of looking at the situation, I think it was a lot. It was her first kid. She's not with this person. So just kind of based on the little bit we did know about Condola, this isn't the type of life that I would have thought, that she would want it. So that kind of plays into your psyche as well. After you're having a baby, your emotions are up and down, your hormones, and it's just kind of all over the place. So with her postpartum, or, with her acting the way she act, what we, assume is postpartum, it's like, it's understandable, but also I kind of felt like you're taking it a little too far, a little, too much out on him when he's trying, but it's your first child. You don't even know what you're doing or what you want to do, or, if you're even doing it right. So I can understand her frustration. But since I was a Lawrence fan, I was like, come on, girl, don't do my man like this. Don't do my guy like this now. But I did have sympathy for her, because no woman wants to be, a single mom and trying to figure out co-parenting.
Right.
Yeah. And then in that, my Ty, it's just when he the situation with her little sister, I believe, Keke Palmer played her sister. So when you feed your side of the story to your family, and then they're regurgitating everything back to you, well, look what he did, look, and that only pushes the story that Lawrence ain't shit, or whatever the case may be, when that's not really the truth. You see that he's putting in the effort, maybe not throughout the pregnancy, but definitely right now. Like, let's focus on right now. So
yeah, that's kind of what happens when you get to just, talking, only seeing your side. Now your mom is looking at them sideways, your sister looking at them sideways, but it's just like going into the situation with her even saying she was pregnant, like it was already like what is this going to be? How are we going to do this type of thing? And I don't think, like, just being a viewer, I don't think Condola thought this all the way out. I think she thought that she could raise Ja by herself without even the help of Lawrence.
And that's what I was about to say. Like, she kind of bit off more than she could chew. Like, I think she thought she would be able to handle single motherhood, because of the fact that she even told him, you can be as involved as you want to be. And I think at that moment she was expecting him not to be involved. And
I might be, stepping over my bounds a little bit here, but I think that's just carryover from her marriage. And, obviously that's, season 4 content, but, she wanted children. So at this opportunity, and then at the age that she is, respectfully, she probably felt like, this is my chance. So I'm going to have this child, with or without you. So it wasn't the ideal situation, but she did go through with it regardless of who the father was. So I think that just ties back to what she wanted initially from her marriage that she didn't get. So that's what I looked at it with that. So
that's true. Because I even forgot she was married, but because that's what they got a divorce for, because she wanted children. Yeah.
And I think the biggest wild, like, this is nuts moment between those two this season was in that episode where they showed, it was like a split screen. Condola was taking care of the baby, right? But then Lawrence was doing like his, going to work, going on dates, like I mean, listen, it was wild to see. I ain't gonna lie, but I mean, what do you expect somebody to do that's living in another city?
Yeah, it's like life goes on.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Right. And it's not like, okay, so in that, he's in San Francisco 4 or 5 days out of the week, but he's making that effort to come, I guess, on the weekends to, be with the baby, take care of the baby, things like that. And it's like, what what do you want this man to do? But eventually he did end up moving back to LA. I'm assuming so they can co-parent together. Did you all ever feel like they were actually in a relationship at some point during the season?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't either. I think they tried to hint at it a little, but it didn't seem as if they were in a relationship.
Well, they were
Even
showing
when
up to baby. Oh, go ahead, Molly.
No, I was about to say exactly what you said. Like, even with them showing up to the events together, I never got the sense of they were together as a couple. I thought more so co-parenting and trying to make that work.
Yep. But of course, people see that. Issa see that. People see that and automatically think, oh, they're here together with the baby. Also, they must be together type stuff. So, yeah, man. So. I guess now we can move on. Let's move on to Mali. What do you all think about Mali's progression this season?
Bravo. When you watch a series, and I have to reference, season 1 through 4, but when you watch someone's love life just go to shit for 4 seasons, like for her to win the way that she did this season, like she had to go through a great loss. We're gonna get to that too, but for her to come out on top in the way that the series ended, I enjoyed it. Chef's kiss.
So
I
am. No, because let me say, because I ain't gonna lie, season 4, Molly had me fucked up. So season 5,
she had everybody fucked up.
Yeah, she had everybody fucked up. She had me fucked up. Season 5, she redeemed herself. Like, she definitely showed, in my opinion, the most growth of all the cast. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Okay, let me say this. She had me a little iffy. What they be saying, that you had me in the first quarter. Like, she had me
you ain't gonna lie, you had me in the first half. Like,
She had me in the iffy. And I can't remember exactly like what number episode, but I remember the episode where Nathan in the barbershop was doing that little beach thing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like Molly, she's been going to therapy, she's been working on herself, and she's showing this maturity, like kind of like not necessarily focusing on men, or that's what I thought. But then when we got to that beach episode, when she was talking about which one of Nathan's friends was gonna get it, and like I was just like, damn, Molly, we back at this. I thought we were focusing on us, but you focusing on which one of these niggas is gonna fuck. So it was just kind of...
Okay, so about that, right? So from episode 1 of season 5 to episode 4, I think is the episode you're referencing. It's like a year and a half or 2 years in between. So episode 1 takes place 2 months after the ending of season 4. But then by episode 4, they're like a year and a half ahead. So do you think it was a case where she going to therapy, she focusing on herself, she's doing the self-healing that needs to be done, and now she's at a point where, you know what, I don't know if I want to date yet, but I need
I need that.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's realistic. If don't nobody know about still tapping into your whole ways at times, I know about tapping into your whole ways at times. So I can understand it. I can understand it. So, but it was just kind of like, I guess because I can see myself in Molly, like the going to therapy and trying to like, find a man, but also like abstain from sex type of thing. So I think it was like, I saw myself in her and I was like, no, Molly, don't do it, like type of thing. And it's like, oh, but you did it. Like, but she still, redeemed herself. She still was growing, maturing throughout the episode. So I give her that. But I ain't gonna lie, that one little moment, I was like, Molly, come on, man.
why we backtrack like this?
Come on, man.
That's so funny.
But I enjoyed what Molly did. Like she did essentially what we're going to get to with Issa, just kind of shedding what you thought I should do and just do it. Like just go forward with it. So it's like I enjoyed that for Molly so much, because it's just like you hate to see, obviously a main character just kind of go through the things that she was going through.
Yeah,
and
man.
It was just a lot. I'm talking about previously, not even this season. This season was crazy for her. So.
But it's so realistic of how many women, like my friends or just women that I see on Twitter, who can relate to any of these main characters, like between Molly, Issa, Tiffany, or Kelly. Like you see so much in them, especially since we focus on Molly and Issa. And it's just like at times I can see Issa within myself, or I can see Molly within me. And it's just like you you root for these characters because you essentially like want it to be yourself. Like if she can do it, man, I know I can get my shit together, like type of thing. So it's like you root for these characters and you become so invested with these characters.
Yeah.
So,
it's crazy, man. And like Ralph alluded to before, Mali, she had this turning point. So from the beginning of this season 5, she was talking to her parents about getting their will and testament done, completed, things like that. So that was a hard fight, but finally with the help of Kelly, they got that under control.
And that also, I didn't want to step all the way on your point, but that actually came after the health scare with the mom.
Oh, that they got the will done?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Yes, okay, so her mom ended up being in the hospital. And even during this time, she was on like a company retreat where she was trying to help Torian like with presentations, and she was hiding the fact that she was dealing with her mom being in the hospital, and which was affecting her performance, like with the presentation and things like that, which actually kind of brought her and Torian closer together because they had that vulnerable moment where she was able to basically open up and tell him, hey, this is what I'm going through. My mom's sick. She's in the hospital, things like that. And I think that was the barrier for them that was broken, because ever since Mali went to this new firm, her and Torian been bumping heads.
Nemesis.
For real. So this was that situation was able to help break that wall, and with them becoming friends and clearly becoming lovers as well. So that was I hate that had to be the catalyst for that, but I guess there's always a silver lining type thing.
Yeah. It was rough watching that because of personally what I've been going through. So like when you have to navigate those emotions while life still goes on, that's a tough pill to swallow. So you do everything that you can, and you just happen to have that person, those people that you can lean on. So it was good seeing that this season for that.
100%.
That's a real emotion.
Yeah. Listen, man, they was acting their ass off in this season, and I loved it.
They really were. And can I say this? I never, ever thought that Mali and what's his name? Torian would be together. Like, that's not how I saw that happening, like, ever. But it was like such a growing moment, and it shows like just the maturity and how sometimes you can start off not liking somebody and then y'all connect over something small or something big, and then a love develops. So that's kind of like a love story that shows like sometimes it's right under your nose with the person that you least expect. So it's not one of those fairy tale love stories that we're typically used to seeing on camera. And we'll talk about that kind of with like Issa and Lawrence, but it's not one of those fairy tales. It's like, I hated this nigga. This nigga hated me, but look how we got to where we are.
That is very true, because they bonded over tragedy, right? Usually sometimes relationships and love situations don't work out like that, as we can kind of point to Issa and Nathan a little bit. Like, y'all bonding over this, that don't necessarily mean it's gonna work. But in this situation, it did. Obviously. So I think that's great.
Yeah. Have y'all ever had a situation where y'all was at a gathering or something with your significant other or somebody that you dating and was high? Y'all just kicked it, y'all was high, and nobody knew y'all was high? Oh,
well, I hope nobody knew I was.
Muggs is in the back eating all the what was it, macaroni and cheese balls or something?
Macaroni, balls, whatever they call mac and cheese balls or whatever. But that episode, that was a fire scene. Like seeing them like interact like that. I feel like Mali needed that. Like I don't think I've seen her have that much fun. And they wasn't even in a relationship, I don't think, at that point. But I haven't seen her have that much fun on like a date or something like throughout the series. So that was great to see. And again, the theme of this season is growth. So seeing that was dope as hell. And then ultimately, they got married. Like that was amazing.
Yeah, we didn't see that. I mean, I didn't see that coming at all. But one thing I didn't I guess we'll kind of get to it, but just like the time jumps, like I needed somebody to kind of explain that to me a little bit. I felt a
Oh
little.
my God. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry, but yes.
No. It's just like those time jumps were a little off to me, which made it kind of like the viewing pleasure. I was like, wait, so it's 2 years later, 3 years later, like
Like,
Elijah can walk, like he can talk, he in grade school, like how this work?
That's how I felt too. I was like, at least just give me a little 10 seconds
like,
at the bottom 1
2
year
years
later.
right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, God damn,
Yeah.
that wasn't too hard.
Because I think from episode 1 to episode 10, at least 5 years passed. It might have been more. I don't know. But yeah, the time jumps was crazy, especially in the series finale. They used everyone's birthday as a catalyst for the time jump. So they went through like 5 different birthdays. So it's like, is that 5 years in itself? And then, there are other episodes where they jumped 6 months, a year, stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, that was cool.
It's like, just tell us at the bottom of the screen, just say 1 year later, 6 months later, because everybody's sense of time is going to be off. Because I'm not gonna lie, that last episode when they went from Molly's birthday then to Issa's birthday, my dumb ass was like, oh, I didn't know their birthdays were so close.
I was like, Molly just had a birthday. How
their birthdays were so close. And then it went to like Tiffany's birthday, and I was like, oh, they're jumping forward. So my thing is, they could have just said, like, if Molly's birthday was January, they could have just put January 2021. Then they could have put March 2021, just to kind of show where we're at throughout the year, because everybody was confused. Like, even watching tweets and on Twitter, people were confused. Like, well, what's going on? Why are we jumping so far?
Exactly.
I'm still confused. So, like, in that last episode, was it everybody's birthday in the same year, or is it like they jumping years?
I think they jumped years, because even Tiffany and her husband's child was kind of like walking and stuff. I was like, wait, like she just gave birth.
True. See, I'm confused because I thought all the birthdays was in the same year. See, I think they just left it up to the viewers to decide for themselves.
Yeah,
that's
them babies in kindergarten. I'm like, them ain't babies.
That's how fast celebrity babies age for real.
They only said 1 year later is from when Molly's mom passed on Tiffany's birthday to 1 year later when she was getting married. Or no, it was 1 year later when she was talking about her mom on the phone with Issa and was like, I can't believe it, because it was her birthday the next year. And then I think from there she was married. But they really didn't give us a good, like, for us to decide where the time frame was.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's probably 10 years passed in this whole season. That's crazy. That is nuts.
Jadam in college, and we like, who?
Right? What was that?
Basketball scholarship. Looking at it. All right, all right. So let's get to Issa. Issa's growth in this entire season. What did you all think about Issa's arc in this season?
I'll yield to Mali first.
Okay, so for Issa. Let's start with, like I said, I can relate to every character. So for Issa, I definitely see her growth, but her growth did not come, so in my opinion, till later in the season. I think she was still she was trying. I'm going to give her that. She was definitely trying. She was working on herself. I feel like she was finding herself, but she was still very, what's the word I want to use? Unorganized. Like, she was, getting the feel of it for like the job and trying to see what she wants to do. And I think we all get to that point in life where we trying to organize our thoughts and what we're really going to do. But I think as far as like the dating, she was very flip-floppy. Like, 1 minute, I'm gonna call that nigga Lawrence. And then the next minute, like, oh, but Nathan. So, but it's realistic, because those are the emotions we go through. Like, when you like somebody, but you're kind of still having those feelings for your ex. But I do feel like overall, this whole season, she showed that she was really working on herself. She was really trying to figure it out, but she was confused. And I think a lot of people, men or women, can relate to that. Like, we can envision what we want, but it's like, if I go this route, this is how it's going to turn out. But if I go this route, this is how it's going to turn out. But what route, do I take? Which one do I want? So I do like that they show that complicated mindset of still not having it 100% together, but working to get it 100% together.
Right. What you got, Ralph?
No, it's nothing bad, man. I just this show lives and breathes through the eyes of Issa D. So I think that her just like her life is pretty much what we use as a catalyst for this whole show. Her highs, her lows, everything. So in season 5, I was just, like it did start out kind of slow because it seemed like it started around everybody else. Issa was kind of in the same spot, just unsure, not really knowing what she's going to do. The love life is very wishy-washy. Like it looked like Crenshaw could have possibly been a love interest. That's how
everybody wanted that.
That's how it was even right. Like the show was written. I was like, okay, man, at this point, Daniel might come back. I don't know. Like it's so much. It's much with Issa. So I think that is dope how the series ended. Issa finally having her shit together and being secure in her insecurities, which I think was very, very important. So she understood that, hey, what I think is ideal is never going to match up. So let's deal with what we have here and make the best of it. And that's not her settling. That's just her understanding how life works now. And that's just how we all think right now as 30 somethings. Like, okay, I may not ever have it all together, but God damn it, I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah,
what I got
for real. Yeah. It's interesting because, and I guess this may be a thing for the series for Issa, but like all of the relationships in her life never seem to be together. So like her relationship with Mali, her romantic relationships with Nathan and Lawrence and Daniel and whatever, man, everybody. And then her relationship with her work, her job, or the block. So literally all of these things are in shambles at the same time. And it's like she's racing to find something that's stable, which is why I think at the point where Nathan was like, let's move in together, which was awkward as hell, she was like, all right, let's do it. Like, no, you don't need to move in with this dude at this time. Like, no, this is crazy, this is weird. But in that moment, I think she's trying to like find something to grasp onto that's comforting, that's stable, that she thinks is going to work or that she can force to work. Even though her and Mali seem to have been going down the right path with reconciling their relationship, which was beautiful to see. But of course, there's still those lingering things in the background. And plus Mali got her own thing going on. So it's like, she can't really count on Mali right now because she's dealing with her mom, dealing with her own relationship, her own thing. So it's like, Issa is like, I need something stable. So I think that's part of the reason why everything in her life was in shambles, at least in the beginning of season 5. But it seemed as if she was finally starting to get things together, and throughout the season, grasping at the fact that, I know in the back of her mind, she knows she still loves Lawrence, but for whatever reason in her mind, she can't be with him. She feels like she can't be with him, but she gets these hints throughout the season, just go for what you want, what's going to make you happy. Like, if it's going to make you happy, just go for it. I feel like we saw that thing in little nuggets throughout the season. So, and up to finally, look, they got back together, man.
Oh, and it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Did you all think that Issa and Lawrence would end up together?
No.
I didn't think it. I hoped, but I didn't think so.
Yeah, I actually thought Issa would kind of just fall back and choose herself. Honestly, I didn't think the way that her mind was working, I felt like, sometimes you have to understand, maybe I'm not built to be in a relationship right now. And that's okay. And that's fine. Right. And you should be like, I'm good. I don't need to, I'm good on everybody.
And that's what I thought, because like Johnny just said, like, the Nathan and Issa moving in together. First off, let me start by, to me, Nathan and Issa never had chemistry. I never just saw a scene with them together that I was googly eyed, like, oh. They never did it for me, but they could just be me personally as a viewer. Yeah. But I felt like the whole moving in together thing was, rushed, and what some of us do, try to hurry up and make something work that probably ain't gonna work, but we trying to make it work. Look, speaking from experience, but it's like I just never saw that for that like couple, but as far as just Issa showing her growth as far as her career, I think it was like I saw her being by herself because I saw that she was more so trying to focus on, do I do the Crenshaw, what's his name, Crenshaw? Yeah, go his route, or do I do this company route? And like when the episode when she was trying to like figure it out, and we were getting like a thought process of like, if I go this way, this is how it's going to look if I go this way. So I was more so thinking she was going to focus on herself the last episode and choose herself, like Ralph had said, like overcoming her insecurities, and now she's secure like within herself. But so I did not expect that ending, but I was not mad.
I kind of a part of me thought she would like focus on herself. But there was another part of me that was like, no, they need to end up together. Y'all remember the episode from season 4 where they like went on a date and had their like closure date or whatever, and they ended up in
the best fucking episode they ever had on the show. Yes, it was beautiful.
I shed tears. Like I shed tears. Like
yes, it was beautiful.
So I was thinking, it's no way you can have that episode, that experience between them two, and they not end up together. Like it's no way that can happen. Like that would have been crazy to me.
That's a dope observation. Just kind of circling back to Issa and Nathan, it seemed like they were just bonding over tragedy, and it's just like, hey, this ain't it, like, and it's okay for y'all. And I think Issa was just trying to force the situation even more because of her thoughts of Lawrence. And it seemed like everything she wanted to do with Lawrence, she was just trying to do with Nathan. And we're all guilty of it when we get into relationships. It happens. Yeah. But especially when, I guess it didn't end on the best of terms. So now you just subconsciously doing goofy shit like that. Nah, that wasn't it. Issa knew that. And divinely, they sold the apartment because they didn't need to sign that lease. They did not need to sign
big facts.
That lease.
The universe was looking out for them for real.
Exactly. But But Johnny, we got to get to it. I hope I ain't jumping ahead, but we got to talk about the brush up, the brouhaha, not even the fight.
The brouhaha,
like at what was it? What were they at?
They was at Tiffany's going away party.
Yeah, and Lawrence just said, eat like Ty put out there, like you got to fight which one you want. So Lawrence was like, hey, are you happy? Straight up. Right now,
if you ain't happy, come home, baby. I'm here.
In front of everybody.
Time out. Do y'all think that was appropriate for that setting?
No.
Okay.
Hell no.
Okay. No. All right. I'm just making sure.
Like you there with your dude. Like it's wild disrespectful. Like that's wild disrespectful.
Nathan was already riled up.
We already there. Well, you know what? I'm thinking about it from the guy's perspective. Like, oh, it's wild to ask that because the dude there. No, Issa didn't want to have a conversation.
That's not on her. That's not the setting for that.
Yeah, that's she don't want to have that. So it's cool. You making it uncomfortable. Leave it alone. We can talk about this.
Right.
And it's kind of like, it was very inappropriate to have it there, like in front of people, just how Nathan overheard it. But I want to rewind just a little bit to when Lawrence was talking to Chad, and I love when they bring Chad crazy ass in, but Lawrence was talking to Chad, and Chad was like, you ain't fight for her. And it was just like, it clicked in Lawrence's mind, like, you didn't fight for her. When she told you, like, it ain't gonna work, you got the baby on the way, he was just like, okay, and you went on with your life. But now Chad got into your ear to let you know, like, you didn't fight for her, which I'm not gonna say all women, but if we are rocky and you want to be with me and I'm kind of iffy about it, I want you to fight for me, to show me. I'm not saying you got to fight Nathan, but fight to show me that you want to be with me and that you want this relationship to work. Yeah. He didn't do that until he seen Issa with Nathan.
Happy.
They had that the little moment about the barbecue. Maybe she liked Texas barbecue better or whatever. So
let me just say, Issa's brother, what's his name? Amal. He messy, as the lady say. He messy as hell. Because he have to ask that. He knew. I feel like he knew what would happen had he, since he asked that question.
Exactly.
Yeah, asking like, oh, are you and Issa still apartment hunting or whatever he asked, but indicating like they moving in together. So now Lawrence is like, the shit is clicking. Like, I want her back. But that ties me into and I'm gonna say this, I ain't gonna say all men because I don't like to generalize people, but men fucking kill me. You don't want nothing. You don't want her till you see somebody else with her. You not jealous or anything like that. You don't even care about her until you see her with somebody else. And now you're like, damn, I do want her back. Damn, I didn't fight for her. So now you put her on blast at this damn party, and you thought you probably had her somewhere secluded that you were talking, but Nathan overheard. So now Issa's in this fucked up, awkward ass situation, whether she still has these feelings at the time or she doesn't. Now it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Now her nigga mad at her. You could have sent them text. Like, don't do all this in front of these folks.
So I want to.
What y'all laughing at?
No, because I got a fucked up. Okay, it's kind of like, you know how it is when, like, say you got an iPhone, right, Ty, and you don't know all the functions, and then when somebody else learn all the functions, you be like, damn, my phone do that. Like that's kind of like the.
So this is the analogy we gonna use when y'all see y'all ex with somebody. You like, damn, she looking good, skin glowing, like new outfit on.
I had the same phone. He ain't do none of that.
Like, he ain't do none of that.
Okay,
that's so funny. He probably felt like he wasn't able to unlock those features.
I know. I'm telling you, when you unlock those features,
and now that they unlocked, it's like, bro.
You don't need a 13 Pro Max, my boy.
Bro. Right.
You don't need a 13 Pro Max, my boy.
I ain't even know this mug had the Dolby cinematography joint. I ain't even
you
know
can
that.
rock with the 11, baby.
That's the problem. Y'all are sad. That's sad. No.
That's jokes. That's all jokes. But that's hella fun. But no, okay, so I want to ask Ty. Ralph, you too, but I want to see what Ty thinks. Do you think Lawrence still would have asked Issa, is she happy, if Issa had showed up to the party alone? Like, say Nathan had to cut hair, like Nathan was busy that day, whatever. He couldn't come. So Issa is there. Everything else transpires the way it does. Do you think Lawrence would still ask Issa that?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't see it. I think he asks based on seeing her with Nathan at the party, I don't want to call it a confrontation, but the barbecue combo that they had, like just a little heat of the moment, like type of thing, regarding Issa. And then, I don't think if none of that would have happened, I think he might have spoke, might have been like, how you been? What's going on with you? But asking her, is she happy? I don't see it. I don't.
You don't think the talk he had with Chad sparked that? You don't think that would have been enough of a spark for him to ask?
So I don't think it was enough of a spark. I think it was a spark, but I think actually seeing her with somebody else is what more so put that battery in his back.
Okay.
To be like, you know what? No, like, and okay, that rewinds back to I think season 4 when he was with Condola and Issa made the comment like she's reaping all the benefits that of him, of what I created, like when they were together. But it's like now she getting everything that Issa wanted from him, a good job, going on dates, being this type of guy. Issa saw that, she made that comment I think to Mali, so it was just kind of like, damn, like that shit fucked up. I think that's how Lauren.
Go ahead. And you know what that sounds like, Molly? The iPhone analogy.
No, big facts. So, but did Issa not do the same thing in season 4?
Yeah, true. That's what I'm saying.
But
I guess I shouldn't say niggas. I can say people don't want. Let me not say niggas. I'm sorry. I apologize to the male listeners, not just men, but people. Not all, but some people. Like when they see their exes, like, yeah, I want that back. But sometimes they really don't.
I agree with you on that, Molly, because it's like this. Issa's love life never really flourished into anything that we took seriously as viewers. Now Lawrence is in, he had a few. He was like, okay, he might actually be with this Condola chick. He might actually be with a what was her name? Aparna. Like she was like she worked in the same field as him or something like that.
They worked together,
Yeah, so it's like Lawrence had a few, decent suitors after Issa, and that's no disrespect to Issa, but it's just like we never took anybody that Issa dated seriously. I don't think. No,
they were all tragic. Even when she was dating a little TSA dude, it was like, Issa, what you doing, baby? What you
I
doing?
think that was strictly a friends with benefit type of situation.
Yeah.
But I hate to say this about my guy,
Uh-oh.
but yeah, Lawrence did have nice suitors or suitorettes. I don't know the proper term here. But he did have women that he could have been in stable relationships with. But his love for Issa is what eventually led all of those to break up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, I
nuts.
can see that.
Yeah.
So sad.
But one thing I can say is anytime Lawrence wasn't, with Issa and they did like throughout the seasons and they did like a flash to him, the man always was dating or having sex with somebody. Like Lawrence ain't waste no time. And I ain't mad at him.
Listen,
But
my guy was in that relationship, not really getting it the way he, not getting it the way we thought people in a relationship would get it. So he said he had to make up for lost time. And I mean, Issa was trying to make up for lost time too. It didn't work out.
They both were.
They both were. They both were.
They both were trying to figure it out. And then in the end, it just, I guess for both of them, it just made sense to be with each other. And I think for Issa, it might have been like just what are other people going to think? Because she made the comment, and I wish I would have wrote down the exact quote, but that last episode, she was just like, it had to make sense to her, for her. And that's true, because sometimes we look at wanting a person and what that'll look like to other people, like other people looking in on our relationship or our situation or whatever it is. But it's just like, it just needs to make sense to us and it needs to work for the both of us. So I love the fact of her saying that and just realizing after all these years, like it's you and it's always been you.
Yeah, like that conversation that they had at Issa's new office space that she opened was very, very powerful. It was like, woo, this is a lot here.
Yeah.
Big facts. But it's like, do y'all feel like, and I think Ty, you actually asked this question on Instagram the other day, but do y'all feel like they needed that closure in order to establish that, hey, like we really do still love each other? Maybe we should actually think about trying to really make this work. Do y'all think they needed to have that conversation in their office space?
Yeah,
I do. I think for them, it was definitely needed because they both have always had this underlying love for one another that created anytime they were on a scene together that you just felt like, damn, like y'all love each other, like get y'all shit together, like, so y'all could be together. So I think that was it was needed because I don't see how either one of them kind of would have went without each other. Because have you all watched the like the special that they had?
Not yet.
I haven't. I watched the wind downs. I haven't watched the documentary.
Okay, watch that documentary, both of y'all. It's only an hour long. It's really good. But they talk about that scene that you talked about, Johnny, from season 4 with not Molly, sorry, with Issa and Lawrence, and how you just saw that they love each other in their date. They talk about they knew from that episode that when the show ended, they had to be together because they set it up for y'all to see that they are soulmates and their chemistry together. So they basically said in their writer's room when they wrote that scene, they knew these two have to be together.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like just to watch that, because just to see how everything came about, how they came up with the script and how everything ended. And y'all, when you watched it, please like let me know, because you'll see who went out for what roles, because a couple of them went out for other roles before they even got the roles that they're in. So you'll be surprised.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I might watch that tonight.
It's good.
And then the last thing about Nathan is not a bad guy at all.
He's not.
The romantic.
Who said he was bad guy?
I just want to make sure the listeners understand that we're not trying to bash him. No. I just want to make sure they know that we're not bashing him.
Oh, okay.
Nathan is a great guy, but the romantic chemistry between Nathan and Issa just didn't work. Like they were way better as friends, because Nathan is the person that actually got Issa to like start doing her own thing. So
he played a vital part in her growth as far as encouraging her to get out and do what she needed to do. So he was a vital part in that. And that's why I feel like relationships, if they don't work, I mean, that person still should have served a purpose to you, and you should have served a purpose to them. So they were still able to help each other despite them, not ending up together.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that because, like, even in their closure conversation that they had at Issa's birthday party, she said that I hope that I took something from you, and you took something from me. So, in order for Issa to build her confidence to even get the block going and all the things that she needed to do, in flip side, it helped Nathan with his mental health issues and handling, what was that, his brother or his cousin or something like that, like that cousin. Situation that had him leave Houston in the first place. Like, it was good to see. Like, I mean, all relationships aren't meant to end up like like a fairy tale, but at the same time, you do have lessons in everything.
Yeah, man.
That is true.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How did you all feel that like they portrayed Nathan? Because people on social media make it seem like Nathan was just like a bum, or he didn't have it together. Because it was a tweet going around that said "and Nathan." Because it said like young Black professionals and Nathan. I was like, damn, why they got to do Nathan like that? My boy was a barber. He was out here entrepreneur and trying to get it.
You got to think about it. This man moved from Houston to LA. Like, I don't know what the cost of living is like in Houston, but it's the South. It's probably like the upper class of the South. But anywhere in the South to LA, like, fam, I'm not gonna have a lot of. It's LA. Like, rent is hella high. Yeah, I remember seeing a lamp on
on a crate.
I remember seeing that. But my man just moved from Houston. What you expect?
Yeah. And he cut hair. Respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, my barber get it. So I ain't saying like barbers don't get money. Trust me, he charged me a lot. But I'm talking about, like, we don't know what his clientele like. Like, he ain't cutting the Lakers, my nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he cutting regular, everyday schmo. So when
I love that they portrayed that though. Like, Molly was a lawyer. I forgot exactly what Tiffany did, but Kelly was like into the life insurance stuff and something with finances, and Issa was figuring it out. And I think them showing Nathan as, like, I'm gonna call him an entrepreneur. He was a barber. Like, you working for yourself, you getting it for yourself. So it was just like that was showing a connection between the two of them. Like, we both out here hustling. Like, what B Simone say? She don't want no 9 to 5, and she wants somebody that's grinding like her. So look, Issa found somebody that was grinding like her. So I like the fact that the show portrayed different levels of Blackness, for one, and different levels of financial stability, because it's realistic. Like, you might have a friend that's a lawyer, you might have a friend that's a barber.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about Insecure. Like, it showed everyday Black people. It didn't show the super rich or it didn't show the super hood. There's a demographic that's right in between that kind of fits everything. So it's kind of like, I'm just so happy that the show did that. So that's why it's such a hit.
The big facts.
Yeah, because it's relatable.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned Kelly. Let's talk about Kelly's arc in this season. We start out episode 1. They all go back to Stanford for, I'm going to assume, homecoming or something.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they thought Kelly died, which is nuts. Which is
weird.
That was a weird running joke, but okay.
So weird. So what do you all think about Kelly's arc this season?
Kelly, go ahead, Ralph. I'll let you go.
I'm not really sure about Kelly's arc this season. I feel like it was the same. Like, I feel like they use her character as comedic relief, and I don't say that's a bad thing. I just feel like outside of her, like, the show is not centered around her and Tiffany's relationship, so it's kind of like there's still a lot of left to be desired with that, in a sense. So it's kind of like when I watch Kelly and the things that she does and says, it's almost like, she's I don't know. It's just like, I didn't have any takeaways. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, gotcha.
No, and that's understandable, because I'm gonna hit on 2 topics with Kelly. One, I kind of hate that always, of course, the bigger person is always the comedic relief, and that's what she was. But I do like the fact that this season, she still was the comedic relief, but they kind of scaled back, and we can see the emotion within Kelly this season. I will say that, because that whole death thing, messed her up. And that's when she started her podcast, and she started questioning things and thinking more about life. So I think they kind of dialed back just the scale for her being the comedy person, and then for her kind of being the, what do you want to call it, being the the person you go to. Like this season, I felt like she was giving good advice to people. Even when the first episode, when Molly and Issa still weren't talking, and then I think I can't remember if it was Issa or Molly that asked her, like, how did you and Tiffany get over, y'all thing before, y'all, because when they fell out. So she was basically like, we were fake back before we were back, like type of thing. So they gave her more of a role this season to me as being a confidant, even when Molly's mom was going through the stuff and they needed her to come over and do the life insurance, opposed to Tiffany. And I know we'll get to Tiffany. Like, I think they dialed, in my opinion, dialed back on her this season and stepped it up with Kelly.
Yep. I agree with that. Yeah, like Ty was saying, Kelly was the person that people were going to this season, and the person that was given like gems of advice that the cast seemed to still not take seriously sometimes, which was kind of crazy, right? But again, that her dying at homecoming did affect her, because even in that episode, she was like, "Damn, is everything a joke to y'all?" And they just kept laughing at her. Which also brings me to the fact that in that episode, old girl robbed him. That was a wild moment.
Yeah,
Damn,
that was
want
a
Issa shoes
moment.
though. But didn't want
Crazy.
Issa shoes. Issa was like, "You want my shoes too?" She was like, "Nah, you keep those." What? Oh, but yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
I was not expecting that. My jaw was dropped the whole time. But yeah, so Kelly, again, this season is about growth. So Kelly fake died, and I think that sparked something in her mind, like, maybe I need to not be the comic relief in my friend circle and things like that. And that's where, she started giving the gems and stuff like that. They showed her with her podcast, which they only showed like one time, which is kind of crazy. I thought that was going to be like the show within the show for the season. Like, that would have been cool, because we didn't have nothing like that this season. We didn't have a show within the show.
That would have been good.
Yeah, that would have been dope, right? And even to the point where at Molly's firm, I think they created like a insurance department where Kelly is like the head of that now. Like, so seeing her growth in her career and her personal life was dope for this season. Even though it wasn't, as prominent as Issa and Mali, I thought it was still good to see, because she took that turn from being like the bust out laughing comic relief to, I'm going to grow as well. Everybody else is going, I'm going to grow around y'all too. So I thought that was dope. I like
that. Oh, let me touch on one thing about Kelly before we move on. I like the fact that when they did the birthdays and it got to her birthday and she announced she was pregnant, and Issa was looking confused, like, I thought you didn't want kids. Kelly is so me. Kelly said, I thought I didn't want kids. Well, she said, no, I didn't want kids, but I realized I wanted kids with this nigga or something, the way she said it. But that's true. Like, sometimes you be like, I don't want kids. And then you find that person, which, remember, when she started dating him, nobody took it seriously when she first brought him around. But then you fast forward to this birthday and here they are together, flourishing, and she's pregnant now. So I do like that aspect, that they show that your opinions on things can change. So she decided she loved this person and this is the person she wants to have children with.
You know what that is?
Gross. It's like, you gotta do that.
You gotta do that. Yeah. So last character we're going to touch on is Tiffany. So previous seasons, even this season, we see her as the bougie friend, but even starting last season, we start to see her not be as happy as we saw her in previous seasons, and I think that kind of continued this season. Again, we didn't see as much of Tiffany, but even with her telling the girls that they were moving to Denver, you could see that she wasn't really excited about it. Like, she was kind of depressed about having the baby, postpartum type of thing. Not, I guess, maybe her feeling like she wasn't like a good mother or something like that, or maybe she couldn't handle it. I don't know. But even so, with that, I don't know how she recovered from that. But then on top of that, moving to an entirely different state where she doesn't know anybody, where it's just her and her husband and the kid. Like, it's just, I think this is the one character that I didn't see any type of growth from. I feel like she
No.
kind of
Went
back a little
backward.
bit. Yeah.
Yes. And so everything that you just said, I totally agree with it. I will go back to season 4 for a second. I love the episode that they did talk about postpartum regarding her, but I felt like it should have been furthered a little bit. But I was like, well, she's not a main character. But then when we go into this season, even with her being so unhappy when they went to Denver once, she moved there and they went. And I can say that's one thing this season I did not like is because they didn't expand on that. Nobody just asked her like, Tiffany, what can we do to help you make it better? What can you do to, make it better? Like, how can we figure this out for you? Because even when Issa and Mali were at the house in Denver and they were in the kitchen and they was just like, is she going to be okay? And it was like, I want to tell her it's going to get better. And it went on to Issa and Lauren. So it was just kind of like, damn, I know Tiffany not a main character, but I just feel like within their friendship dynamic, it would have been good to see them actually checking on her mental health, especially knowing that she did suffer from postpartum, which she still may be suffering from that because they say you could suffer from that up until like 5 years after pregnancy. So I just wanted them to expand on that just a tad bit more because every time we saw Tiffany this season, Tiffany was looking dry, like bland and just miserable.
Somebody pointed out that she had like a bad wig on. I think when they went to Denver, I ain't catch it, but I thought that was funny.
I don't think I paid attention to the wig, but she just looked blank in the face, just like miserable. And I just kind of wish as their friend group, the fact that they had gotten so much better as friends this season, I just think that one little element of their friend group of them just actually asking her like, are you okay? What can you do to make it better? Because at some point I was like, hell, is her husband finna get a divorce? Like, I'm confused. Like, she just looked miserable.
It's crazy. Like I think it was only one time during this season that I saw Tiffany without Derek. And that was when they had the girls' night. Like every time we saw Tiffany, Derek was there too. And I don't know. Is that overkill? Like, that's crazy, right? No, am I tripping?
You know what? And I guess because her storyline was that they were moving. So I guess they were just throwing him in there. Because I also wonder, was she in this season less based on their outer, situation in real life?
I was going to ask about that. I feel like the writing suffered a little bit for Tiffany's character because of maybe the little friction that they had.
Okay.
It's hard.
I can see that. Did you all see the tweet that basically said how everybody had grown in the show to basically get everything they wanted, but Tiffany was the person that had it all. She had the career, she had the job. I mean, she had the career, she had the husband, she had the kids, she had this bougie, perfect life, but she was still suffering. It was a tweet going around like that, but it was true. Like, Tiffany basically had everything that these other girls were striving to get, but she was the most unhappy.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that's real life too. Like, you see a lot of these people that have the perfect life or as close to perfect as possible, but behind closed doors, they're still unfulfilled. And I don't know what it could be that could get them in a position where they are happy and things like that. But yeah, that's also real life. That's also real life.
That's true. I just wish they would have expanded on that a little bit. But at the wedding, she was pregnant again. So maybe
I was gonna mention that. I mean, and it could just be it's just them. Like, she still don't know nobody out there. She ain't got nothing else to do.
It's probably, but what we want is longer episodes, and we weren't getting that. So somebody got to get shortchanged on this, right? Somebody.
Do y'all really think Insecure, like the show, would have been good or better had they lengthened the episodes? I think it would have watered it down.
Nah. I think you can write a show like this for 5 seasons with hour episodes, or at least 45 minutes. Like, because it's a lot of this stuff is left to be desired. Because remember, when we was in season 3, we was getting 22-minute episodes. Like, what is this? Like, so.
Yeah, because it just seemed like as soon as you press play, it's over.
Yeah, no, you're right. But see, that's how you know the episodes are great, because you watching for 25, 27, 28 minutes. Like, if you really think about it, that's kind of a long time. But it's like it go just like that because it's so good. You're so immersed into the the show. So I don't know. I don't know. I think the episodes would have been watered down had they been a little longer. But that's just me.
Now let me ask this: with now that the series is concluded, do you think? I mean, obviously storylines could still be played out, but do you think season 5 is like a good cap?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I think the way they structured season 5 and the way it ended, I think it was a good cap.
Yeah, I think so. Because kind of based on that last episode of how it was kind of left up to the viewers to catch things such as Issa's engagement ring or catch that Tiffany was pregnant, or like it kind of just left it up to us. So if like I didn't know Issa had an engagement ring on, so I went to Twitter and I said, damn, I missed that. Yep. So I do think they put a good end cap on it because it did leave some mystery to your, like for you to figure out like how things played out. So it could play out the way you wanted to and the way I wanted to in each one of our minds. So I do think they did a good ending to everybody.
Did y'all also catch the last scene with Issa in the mirror in the last episode? The mirror Issa did not talk back.
Yeah.
That's the first time that's ever happened. Like, I guess her insecurities are gone now.
And that's what I was gonna say. I think that's what it was, that those insecurities weren't talking back to her anymore. Like she was content, she was at peace, she was secure with who she was and who she had become. So I did like that part of it. I really did.
Yeah, man. So what do you all think about the season overall? You think it was a good season, decent season, bad season?
I think it was decent.
Yeah, I can agree. I think it was decent because in the beginning, it wasn't necessarily giving us everything we thought, as the viewers, like we thought we should get. But I do think that the way it was written and everything that happened aligned perfectly for how it ended. I just think us as viewers, we get very antsy and we get very entitled and we want stuff to, every episode got to be a banger. Yeah. When sometimes episodes are just fillers to give you details or information that is going to play a factor later on.
So out of the 10 episodes, how many you think were filler?
8.
Yeah, it's definitely over half. Like I don't know if I got 8, but it was definitely over half. I'm like, woo,
yeah, that's a lot.
Because for me, the only 2 good episodes were 9 and 10. The last 2 episodes that I felt like, oh my god, like the last 2 episodes
because they was fighting because they fought.
Not necessarily that, because it was just like that going away party. It was like what we needed. That was just like, or was that 8? Was that episode 8 or 9? The going away party.
That was 9.
9. Okay, so yeah, it was just like, damn, this is what we've been waiting on. It was like we got Mali high with the guy. They doing whatever. Dro didn't pop back on the scene. We like, damn, we ain't seen Dro since season 3 or 4. Then we got, Issa in a Lauren situation. So it was just like we had so much going on that it was a fulfilling episode. And then episode 10 was the closure episode for us as viewers. Everything else was just like, it was okay. Like it just wasn't mind blowing.
If this wasn't the final season, I would agree with y'all. But since this is the final season, I think it's maybe except for Tiffany, they told the stories that needed to be told for each character. Like we saw the progression of Lawrence and Condola, like how from the baby being born to them actually being good co-parents, like the relationship between Issa and Mali, how we all know how that went last season, and at the end of last season with them coming, like going to dinner together. So from that moment up until Mali telling Issa, girl, thank you for loving me when I was me. Like, I think that was a great progression. Even with Kelly, like seeing how Kelly was throughout the series up until her, like actually, growing in her own right, both personally and professionally. I think this was a great final season, to be honest. I thought this season was great. But I guess I don't know. I guess that's just me. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I thought this season was great. Even with them having the girls night. I think we get one of these types of episodes per season where they all get together and do something.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think they were at Issa's apartment, if I'm not mistaken. But
they were.
even with them getting together, and that's when Tiffany dropped the bomb that she was moving out of town. And I'm watching this episode like, oh my God, like I think this might be the last time we actually see all four of them together in this type of setting, like on screen together. Like I almost shed a thug tear. Like it was, I don't know, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed this last. I thought this last season was dope.
That was a good episode too, because realistically, that's how we are when we were with our friends. We're talking about our love lives. We're talking about work. We're drinking or smoking or whatever the case may be. And that was a realistic scene. So I did like that scene as well. But it just, I guess for me, like I said, the other two were just like the banger episodes, but the other ones weren't bad. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying the season was trash. I guess, like I said, just as a viewer, I just wanted a little bit more. Like, but I guess because I'm used to like Power and Snowfall, like they're gonna give you like so much every episode. But this isn't that type of show. This is more of a calmer, show showing progression of your life. So I can see it. I can see what you're saying as well.
All right. So last question before we get out of here. Who was y'all's MVP of season 5?
Lawrence, because he had a baby and he still got this girl in his dreams. Ow. Ow. Ow.
Right.
Wait. Listen.
Y'all so petty. Who is the MVP of the season? For me,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll give mine. Mine's is Mali. I never thought I would see Mali get married. I didn't. To see her progression throughout everything, like actually getting to that point where she is like mentally there when it comes to like dating and her career, like she just really hit her stride. And I think Torian was the perfect guy for her. Clearly, we saw how mature of a person he was when she explained to him her relationship with Dro, and he was just like, I bet. Now he was high, but I feel like even if he wasn't, he still would have been like, I bet. You don't think so, Ralph?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like, I got nothing with that one. I'm like,
so I don't. Mali's my MVP, man.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I kind of want to say Nathan. And I'm going to tell you why. I say Nathan because Nathan was there, encouraging Issa. He kind of played, a vital part in her career and her growth. But I want to say he's my MVP solely on episode 10, based on when he went to the birthday party and they were having their closure moment where he was like, hey, I just want to bring you this from this shop. We thank you. And they had that quick little conversation. But in that moment, he chose himself and he chose his mental health over trying to rekindle anything with Issa, because you can kind of see Issa had a little glimmer, kind of like, well, is he here for me? Like, what is this? She just, to me, looking at it, it looks like she had a little glimmer of hope in her eyes. But in that moment, it was just kind of like, he's like, nah, like, I'm good. I choose me. I choose my mental health. And I think that right there, that solely is why I choose Nathan for my MVP, because he chose himself. And that's so hard to do sometimes when you're in love and you're battling, with yourself. Should I be with this person? Should I go back? And especially because if you think about the scene where Issa broke up with Lawrence in the car and Lawrence didn't fight for her, and then you fast forward to her and Nathan in that same scene, and she didn't fight for Nathan. And you can see Nathan was torn up about it. You can tell that, it really messed him up. So for him to pick himself and just still go and show her love, I was like, I fucks with it. I do. So I think Nathan.
I am not mad at that.
That's a dope pick
at all. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Todd, thank you so much for joining us. This was a dope recap. We will 100% have you back on at some point. So before we get out of here, leave the listeners with all your social media handles again.
Okay. All right. So again, this is Mali from Mali with the Most podcast. And you can follow me on Instagram at Mali with the Most. And on Twitter, it's Mali W_the most. Feel free to reach out to me, talk to me, slide in the DMs if you're single and you're ready to mingle. No, I'm joking, but for real. But yeah, that's me. You can find me there.
That's what's up, man. Again, that's episode 126. Farewell to
126.
Insecure.
Yep.
It was beautiful. It was a great run. We
Yes,
loved
sir.
it. We love you,
Yes,
Issa
sir.
Rae.
Yes,
yeah,
we
man.
do.
Join in on the conversation. Hit us up. Let us know what y'all think. Make sure y'all check out Mali with the Most podcast.
Yes, sir.
It's episode 126.
126.
And we out.
Chill.
Peace.
Bye.